Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob and today we are going to be continuing the narration and character voicing for the side story where Vernal Winds Will Never Blow. And as always, before we begin, thank you very much for the likes and the comments. We had some interesting conversations in the last episode, so thank you very much for that. Much appreciated, they help a lot and mean a lot, of course. And for anybody new to the channel and these narrations that I do, hello and welcome, and if you want to start from the very beginning of this series, for example, playlist for it is in the description of this video, including pretty much all the playlists of all the side stories that pretty much lead up to this one, from Ancient Forge all the way now to here to Vernal Winds. However, if that sounds too much to consume all at once, if you want to go in order, I would, like always, recommend at least go through Invitation to Wine, which was the previous story to this one, considering how much plot, characters, and so on and so forth carries over in this one. It will help you understand certain segments quite a bit better. With that out of the way, let's proceed into the quick recap of the previous part, as always. If you want to skip it, timestamp is in the comment section below, pin comment. Anyway, on the previous part, well, we began our story last time pretty much with Du Yaoyi hammering down the doors of the sword forge, trying to find her uncle Meng. Trying to get some answers out of him because of things she just heard and might be suspecting him of, but she gets interrupted by the appearance of Zuo Li, who is obviously also on his way to the forge, with his forces not too far behind him. But he doesn't wait too long, busts the door down with his sword, enters, and the two of them get quickly surrounded by Shanhaizhong members who were anticipating their arrival. And amongst these Shanhaizhong is also the very leader of the group. In the meantime, Li visits Lin Yusha and has a couple of exchanges with her, but he mostly tells her the story of Yumen and the changes that have happened to Yumen over the years, which puts some pieces for Lin finally into place. Meanwhile, back at the Sword Forge, the troops finally arrive to support the two that were already there, including Jiyun, who also jumped out to help the two of them, who were being overwhelmed essentially, but she can't do much because of her injuries. But they do get saved by not just the arrival of the troops that Zuo Li commands, but also by Chngyue, who appears and faces off against the leader of the Shanhaizhong. Chngyue does get repelled by her, but at the final moments, everybody gets suddenly surprised by the appearance of none other than Huai Tianpei, who appears because he is still in pursuit of Jiyun, who still has to pay for her medical bills. And he is very determined to find her and drag her back to the clinic, at least. He does very quickly notice that everybody wants the sword, or at least that Jiyun wants the sword, and he yoinks it and runs away with it. Jiyun goes into pursuit and is also followed by Zuo Li right behind them. Some of the Shanhaizhong members disperse, the leader disappears, but they do capture quite a lot of them. Zuo Li does later finally catch up to Jiyun. The two of them have an argument. Huai comes back to them, as no one was suddenly pursuing him anymore, and offers them a small little deal. The deal essentially is the two of them will engage into hand-to-hand combat, and whoever wins gets the sword. Zuo is trying to argue his way out of that, but Jiyun doesn't wait long and immediately engages in combat with him and essentially wins the duel, because mostly of the fact that Zuo Li has been holding back in the fight, mostly because she is still injured and he didn't wanna, injure her even more, or worsen her injuries to that fact. Huai hands over the sword to Jiyun and makes her promise that she will return one day with the sword once she completes what she needs to complete. He does, however, also encourage Zuo that he didn't do anything wrong by holding back during the duel, considering that she was injured. In the meantime, Yusha sees now the final whole picture with all the contextual clues and is about to encounter the mastermind. And also, we do get a small little glimpse of the past for Chngyue. Chngyue essentially was, or rather had a father who was, well, he was, from the description at least, supposedly a bandit who would kill just to get things so they could survive, essentially. And one day he was killed in a raid by soldiers of Yumen who were led by none other than Chongyue. So she swore essentially to take revenge on Chongyue, but once she reached the city, she never once actually became his student, but is technically also kinda, from military perspectives, working under him. But at the moment, she is waiting for her big moment where she can finally exact revenge that she has been harboring for him for a long time. Jiun, on the other hand, has, or rather is now trying to leave the city finally, and does get a bit dragged away, or rather distracted by the fact that she hasn't eaten in a couple of days, and she smells some delicious food from the local restaurants and inns. She wanders into one, gets a meal, gets very quickly reminded that she doesn't have money to pay for the bill once she's done, but she gets bailed out very quickly by Waifu, who appears before her because the two know each other. Mostly because the two of them have had a run-in in the arena a couple of days ago. Waifu pays for the for the bill, and Jiun goes on her way trying to leave the city. Waifu goes in pursuit of her because she's a bit worried and wants more answers out of her, but the two of them get very quickly surrounded by the Shanhaizhong members and engage in combat with them. And Lin finally meets, or rather one of Lin's subordinates finally meets, the mastermind behind the messenger incident. And that is where we left off last time. So then, let us begin with today's part. So then, today we shall be covering the story from stage 6, 7, and 8. However, I will tell you right now that I am, with stage 8, gonna be blue-balling not just myself, but also you, who is listening to this. Stage 8, we will only do the before story, and I'm doing this mostly because, not because I want to blue-ball everybody, I am blue-balling myself with not finishing the story on stage 8, because, oh boy, that will be a cliffhanger. However, there is a lot happening in these 3 stages, and a shit ton of characters, and just from the, not pre-recording, but the pre-phase to recording, aka reading and figuring out voices and what to do in certain scenes, I was already exhausted. That is gonna be a lot of characters today, so I needed a break for more than one reason. But yeah, we will finish this tomorrow, and until tomorrow, both me and you are gonna be blue-balled for stage 8. I have no idea what happens in the after part of stage 8. We'll see about that tomorrow together. Anyway, let's begin with stage number 6. Titled Sight of Autumn. We fear no wind. They work well together. How many of them are there? Hey, why did they stop? Why are they looking for you? What's your name? I'm Waifu, even if they read my name like Hugh around here. Waifu, Hugh, I'll remember. I'm Jiun. I'll come back and find you. Wait! Strange girl. Let's catch some bad people first. The old man gazes over the map, drawing a course. His gaze moves slowly. He knows how vast a distance every inch on the paper represents. The tea on the table has long grown cold. I didn't think you would enjoy our provincial Yumen tea, Grand Tutor. Everyone here drinks the same tea, so can I. This tea is yin in nature. It's not ideal while the weather is cold. Your knowledge is vast, but you don't pay enough attention to your health. The others would be anxious if you fell ill. Someone better will take my place if I fall ill. Each generation is better than the one that came before. There is no single person whom Yan cannot do without. What is important is not one person, one generation, but the legacy. Such has always been the way. Legacy. A difficult concept for us to understand. You've taught countless people who've contributed to Great Yan. The army still uses the martial records left behind by the record keepers for training. I myself have received military instruction from you. At the end of the day, we, our expertise, it was all learned from others. Chongyue dumps the cold tea and pours a new cup of hot tea. Thank you. Since when have we become strangers? I've never forgotten the times when we discussed matters of state over candlelight and drew swords alongside one another. But where we stand has changed. Excuse my impudence. You didn't come just to talk about old times, did you? You're right. I came to say goodbye. Meanwhile, back at the warehouse. Here I am. Hello, Envoy Lin. Wasn't it 2 days ago that we last saw each other? More has happened in 2 days than in the 20 years prior. Now that I think about it, you did what you did that day not to help me, but to stop me from investigating. I still helped you. I heard that the LGD sent an acting inspector to oversee matters of public security when the 2 cities were docked. I could not associate the commotion you caused at the market and the sword forge with the young girl who stands before me now. Did you set your sights on me from the beginning? No, only just now. I wasn't sure that all this was your doing until you showed up. You only suspected. That was enough. Your style is unique. I've always been like this. Did you want to say unscrupulous? Could you really call all of that you've done scrupulous? Fair enough. But what specifically did you mean by all that? Working with the Shanhaizhong, faking the bandit attack on the messenger, then setting up an attack on me, making the fake catastrophe data real. Then you had someone else steal the Grandmaster's sword to muddy the waters. The theft of the sword was unexpected. Otherwise, last night would never have happened. But it is impressive that you've deduced the switching of the data. Good thing you had enough decency not to actually kill the messenger. I have a question myself. Why? I'm sure you already know the answer. You wanted to cause a catastrophe and destroy Yumen just because you had a grudge against the Lord Exorcist? Zuo Shanriao and us have been through more than hell and high water together. The word grudge is far too light. And Zuo Shanliao has taken us too lightly. You are from Lungmen.
I am.
I've heard it's a good place. A prosperous one. I never had a chance to visit. You've seen how things are at Yumen, traveling through the desert all year long, risking catastrophe to deliver important reports, trekking through nothing but sand for days in search of water. You've never experienced that. Someone has protected the borders. Someone has to protect the borders, protect the nation. Soldier or civilian, most Humanites are not local. We left our homes to settle here, without a word of complaint. Zhuo Shanliao should not forget that there are others who had a hand in Yumen becoming Yan's bulwark. Who does he think he is, driving away those who have bled for Yumen?
You misunderstood the Lord Exorcist.
Then why is the Grandmaster leaving Yumen?
I don't know. What I can't understand is why you want to destroy the city that you've protected for so many years.
How many catastrophes do you think Yumen has encountered in its history? A single catastrophe won't destroy Yumen. It will only unite its people.
Madman.
Two young people cower in a corner of a warehouse, looking rather haggard.
The cheese. Where are the others? What about the soldiers and the messenger?
Old man from the Sword Forge let them go just now.
Thank goodness they're all right.
Miss Du, I'm sorry we didn't get the job done. The guys from the Sword Forge knocked us out before we even knew what was going on. We found ourselves in the warehouse by the time we came to. Why did they do that?
It's a long story. Come on, stop with the long face.
But it's Chngyue's logistics first job.
We ran into something this big on our first job. That means we are meant for big things.
I like that approach.
Now put yourselves together and follow me.
I have an idea of where the sword is. You had an idea from the beginning. Just a little private interest. I guess I couldn't keep it from you. Everyone has private interests. That's fine, as long as it doesn't interfere with duty. I have an idea whom to entrust the sword to. I just want to see the last trial through. With your permission, of course. The goodbye you mentioned, it's more than just this. The path ahead is unknown. Who knows if we'll meet again? A proper farewell is in order. Yumen is headed for the capital. It is about to wake. The old man turns around and once again casts his eyes towards the map. He sees and thinks about much on it. He suddenly has a question, one that a grand tutor would not have asked. Do you have regrets? Parting is a fact of life. Seeking perfection doesn't mean there won't be regrets. But sometimes I feel that there just isn't much I can do. Yumen started out as a fortress built for that hunt. The hero of Yumen could have humble beginnings, or could belong to one of the long-lived races. But the one thing he cannot be is the incarnation of a Feranmut. This is a secret that the Sui regulators must protect at all cost. One cannot expect to be understood and accepted no matter where one goes. The man walks slowly to the old man's side, and the two of them gaze silently at the depiction of mountains and rivers. Yumen will approach the capital in 6 months, bearing any unexpected events. The markings on the map are locations where civilians are expected to be evacuated prior to Yumen's arrival at the capital. If things get to that point, Yumen must be prepared to sacrifice itself to kill the bestial Sui. This is a price that Yan must pay. The Shanhaizhong struck 20 years ago. Lord Exorcist came to me after things calmed down, before the Sui regulator arrived. He realized then that the bestial Sui were a great potential threat to Yan. Yumen will someday return to its original battlefield. When it comes to that, Yumen cannot rely on me or the Chongyue fighters. Everyone must go. This place that many people have called home will return to dust. People on the outside call the Lord Exorcist heartless, but there's so much that he cannot tell anyone. We had a group of common friends. Those who carry heavy responsibilities cannot be trapped by private sentiment. 20 years of conflict. There were misunderstandings and there were grudges, but there must be closure. This is something that I need to do myself. This is a private request. I dare not ask for your understanding. Yet, in some cases, an allowance can be made. Shuo is part of that atrocity, but the people of Yan owe Chongyue a great debt. So what you mean is... The Lord Exorcist has taken you to ensure my safety. What danger is there to me if you can protect Yumen? Thank you. The man turns and leaves the tent. The old man nods slightly in his direction. Lord Wei, I can be of help in the hunt for the criminal. I will see you off. Back to the warehouse. The air feels dead silent. The only sound is that of gravel as it falls on the roof. The warehouse has no windows. Lin Yusha listens intently for any sounds outside. Minute after minute passes. Have the catastrophe clouds drawn closer? The night wind blows stronger. You look impatient, Miss Lin. Thank you for chatting with this old man. Perhaps it's because you thought I may still have the real data collected by the catastrophe messenger. Take it.
Why would you give it away for nothing?
It's too late for Yumen to avoid the catastrophe now, even if the correct data reach the Imperial Astronomical Bureau. I would like to make it clear that this plan was entirely my own. The folks who were taken into custody are innocent.
Good to see you still know what innocent is, after putting an entire city's worth of people in danger.
There is act of nature, and there is act of man. They should not be confused.
You must have other reasons for delaying me.
Of course. I would not simply waste time on a day like today. I had promised to help an acquaintance leave the city, but I have no choice but to go back on that promise after what happened at the Sword Forge last night. I can only hope to draw more attention and make it easier for her to get out.
The sword thief? Didn't you say the theft was unexpected?
Astute as ever. But this is a rather silly matter. Too silly to talk about. Let those who should leave, leave. Let the debts that should be settled, be settled. You got what you came for, Miss Lin. You should leave. There was one thing you didn't catch. It's not just Zuo Shanliao I hold a grudge against. I picked this time and place to settle another debt.
You hide well. You made us work to find you. You turned your back on our partnership.
Weren't you trying to silence me when you went to the Sword Forge last night?
Got the data from the girl. Leave this one to me.
Maybe you misunderstood. The old man opens a bag on his belt and takes out an unremarkable black iron hammer. He glares at the Shanhaizhong and speaks through clenched teeth. Hide. I've been waiting for a chance to finish all of you off. Alright then, and let's continue on to stage 7, titled Wind Aegis. The fortress that guards the borders has no shortage of those who would guard it. One, two, three. The hammer swings. For over 7,000 days and nights, he swung the hammer just like this. How he wished the hammer was not falling on an unformed iron billet, but on the blades and heads of his enemies. Just like right now.
The rest of you, retreat. Your hammer is heavy, but not fast enough.
As long as it's heavy enough to break your blade and smash your head in. Oh no, I planned a much better death for you. I wanted to stuff this warehouse full of explosives, and when the catastrophe arrived, to give your lives as an offering to Yumen. Of course, mine would be in there too.
So that was your plan?
Why would I have taken the initiative to seek your cooperation otherwise?
I don't see why we should have such enmity between us.
Maybe it was how you somehow managed to sneak into Yumen, somehow disguise yourself as martial artists to gain the trust of the guards, and then somehow cause chaos all over the city, turning Yumen into what it is right now. My memory is not that bad yet. The day you first showed up in the city, I recognized you right away. I've waited 20 years for you to come. Such a pity that with just a little accident everything was lost. Lucky I still have this hammer of mine. The warehouse is dimly lit, and the glass blade in Ling Yusha's hand turns more and more transparent. The Shanhaizhong seem fearful of her exquisite original arts, and instead of swarming her, they coordinate and slowly begin to encircle her.
For such a group to hide in the city for so long and stay undiscovered. Their fighting style doesn't seem to come from any common school or military, and yet they're fierce and unrelenting, but also disciplined and highly organized. Where exactly did they come from? If only I had Shen's sword here to better deal with them. What am I daydreaming for? My top priority is to break out of here and bring the data with me. Hey, let me help! What are you still doing here? I got the cheese out and heard a fight over this way. Sure enough, it was this bunch again. Your friends? They're fine. The messenger and the escorts are all fine. Meng Tian had them locked up, but didn't harm a single one of them. Don't look at me like that. You haven't been forgiven yet. And after we clear these guys out, I'll settle the score with you. Then it's best you start thinking how to survive this. They won't be easy to deal with. You don't need to remind me.
Yari?
You're not allowed to call me that.
Sounds like you know.
Distracted?
Shut up.
Why should I shut?
I wasn't talking to you. Anyway, I'm glad you're alright. I will make my apologies after defeating my foe with my own hands.
Huh. Why do you sound so relieved speaking to me? Because no one actually lost their lives because everything is still in your hands? If you had allowed... If you had always planned to fake death for the messenger team, why did you ask me to put the cheese on the job? Everyone in the city holds you in the highest regard, and you play games with their lives.
To be honest, it was not like I've never wavered. But when you showed up at my door so enthusiastically, saying you wanted to open the first modern logistics company in Yumen, and told me not to consider your father, Chngyue's reputation. Oh, how I miss the times when we were young. The force of each blade on him increases as does the ferocity of the girl screaming at him. I do want to kind of just interrupt here very quickly, and I want this to sink in. This old Forge Master is holding back this motherfucker, excuse the language, this motherfucker who managed to down a mountain of a person like Taihei, who had both martial arts and arts on him, in 2 swoops, and has been trouble for everybody else. And yes, probably not doing her utmost here, but still, this guy is holding her back. What a giga chat. Anyway, Meng Tie stops talking, grits his teeth, and swings his hammer.
I remember you telling me that you were a well-known figure in Yumen for all the right and wrong reasons. In your day, you trained with the Grandmaster to kill your enemies, and quick to exact revenge, in order to exact justice for the people who were robbed. You chased the bandits for more than 100 li out in the desert and destroyed their stronghold. You know exactly how many streets, shops, and tents there are in the city. You know every part of Yan that your sworn brothers in the army hail from. But right now, do you even care about Yumen anymore? You're way more pedantic and muddled than my father, who refused to let go of his old ways. Times change, and so will we. Escorts will turn into logistics companies, and the Sword Forge will turn into a regular workshop. No one can stop this, and you shouldn't even try. No matter how much you hate, how much resentment you hold in your heart, you have no right to test Yumen with a catastrophe just to see if it can hold a candle to its old days. How dare you? Are you even worthy of this city? Meng, are you even worthy of yourself? Du Yaoyi, watch out!
Huh? Meng Tie has never once looked back. A duel between masters does not tolerate even the slightest distraction, let alone an enigmatic like this woman. He isn't sure if he fully comprehends exactly what little Du Yaoyi has been scolding him over, only that it is loud and muddled with a lot of emotion. But he hears Lin Yusha's warning loud and clear, and turns his head on reflex. Meng Tie throws the hammer in his hand, knocking away the enemies and closing onto Du Yaoyi's back. At the same time, a long and narrow blade cuts his spine open.
Uncle Meng!
Chngyue logistics is a good idea. But I won't get to see the seed sprout myself. Have you never considered the Chngyue you speak of is still here, just in a different form?
The rest of you are next.
The woman steps over the body lying on the ground. Blood drips down the extremely long blade.
She's coming. I can see that. Since escorting the messengers was a trap, that means Chngyue Logistics has yet to really open. I'm not sure if you will be willing to accept my request to deliver something. Right now? This box holds the true catastrophe data that must be handed over to the Lord Exorcist. Take my token with you, and he will let you in. And then what? Then you start hoping that it's not too late. Don't give me that. You'll have me run off while you stay and play the hero? You should know very well I'm not that good of a person. But someone has to get the data out. This woman is so unfathomably powerful, she even killed Meng Tie. With my arts, I might be able to hold them back and create a quick opening for you. What about you? Who knows? What are you talking about? If you think you can hold them back for me, then we'll switch roles. I'm sorry for lying to you about your friends. You're not the only one who has lied to me. And I was yelling at Meng Tie earlier. That was all for you too. Right, I forgot to tell you this. Honestly, I think it is impressive for someone to travel so far and work so hard to make her living. Now's not the time for... Remember this. If you don't make it out, Yumen won't make it through the catastrophe either. This is a tall order, but Chngyue Logistics accepts. Close your eyes.
Lin Yusha shakes her hands, and the glass shards fall to the ground, instantly turning to quicksand. Streams of fine sand flow from the corners and ceiling, quickly converging as one.
Still feel like putting up a...
The sand rises. In the cramped warehouse, a sandstorm forms. She's doing the best impression of her dad at that point. Did something catch fire over there? Could it be arson? Let's go and take a look. The sand's loose? Who would even come here? True. The military whistle sounds from the top of the city. The sky is already pitch black, and the outline of the full moons can be vaguely seen through the clouds. If the old smith has finished his work and returns to the sword forge to find her missing, he could probably figure out that he should look for her over at the sand sluice. The nomadic city foundations chew through the ground, the high-speed turbines grinding up oversized obstacles along with tons of sand and gravel, spitting them out with a deafening sound. The old smith was right. There are no guards posted here, because no one would ever want to leave the city this way.
It's almost time.
3 times you've gotten away from me, and lucky enough, you once again walked yourself into a dead end.
I don't know you.
The sword on your back has nothing to do with our plans, but an object hiding 1/12 of the bestial Sui's consciousness is of great interest to someone.
Bestial Sui? What are you talking about?
Sounds like you don't know anything. That makes you even less worthy of holding that sword. Hand it over. A black halo behind your head, and a NASA.
So what if I am?
Now, I want to just stop here for a moment. I saw her art before, but I've never thought about this way. This young woman, who spoke for one scene only so far, I believe, in an ancient Sarkas dialect, when she woke, I think it was in the clinic when she woke up, and that is already very like, okay, that is a language that not many should be able to speak, especially ancient Sarkas. But, at the same time, she has a halo. I've never thought about that thing behind her head as a halo, because I've seen her splash art obviously before. But I didn't think about this. Alright. Noted. Moving on. And a NASA actively mingling in a Yanese nomadic city. How ridiculous. Have you forgotten where you came from? Forgotten what happened to your people? While you were suffering out in the wilderness, aimlessly looking for food and shelter, did Yan ever help you? Anasa, you should join the Shanhaizhong organization.
All I see is the terrible things you've done in the city.
Then you're a fool.
The sand will soon disperse. There's no way I can match the the woman Chief Wei and Dad couldn't beat together. But I can at least delay her for a while longer, to buy Du Yaoyi a little more time to make her way out. You're scared of me, but you gave another the opportunity to escape. It seems that after all these years, you people have not changed a bit. Consider it an honor to die a brave death. Gallantry isn't exactly my style, and I'm not about to let you kill me.
A crunch sounds, and within the next second, the yellow sand condenses into a glass blade.
Trying a sneak attack? You'll not really enjoy your cheap tricks.
To try and sneak an attack while ignoring the disparity in strength is just asking to die. In the end, so many means were employed to force Meng Tie out and obtain the Catastrophe data. I guess I could count this as having done a good deed. Oh well. The glass sword crumbles inch by inch, the long blade already falling on her brow.
Shi Xiao, rouse, Shi!
A crimson sword tears through the airborne sand and dust. Swords clash, the sound rings through the air, roughed by friction. Lin Yusha's sword shifts its form between sand and glass, countless shards in the air reflecting a silhouette within. The figure stands before her, tall and straight as a poplar.
How did you know I would be here? What are you talking about? I saw your arts in the distance. I figured you were asking me to come and save you. Don't flatter yourself. I had no idea you were coming to Yumen. So why are you here? Just passing through. Did you follow me here, like you did in Dosiles? Wasn't that you following me? You must have heard about the assassination attempt on Wei. If you got time to talk to me, you've got time to explain what exactly is going on here.
The sand and dust have dissipated completely. Not a soul remains in the warehouse.
I don't have time. We have to get out of the city gates.
Du Yaoyi has been in the city for a while, but she never realized these streets went on for so long. Just 100 meters feels more difficult than traversing the mountain roads of Shunri Peak. The small box in her arms feels heavier than any quarry shouldered by the mountain pole carriers. We, the Escort Association or logistics company, things will always be the same. For the sake of our livelihood, we put our lives on the line. If you wish to make a name for yourself in this business, you need to understand how heavy the weight on your shoulders is.
I'll never forget all of the stories about escort missions Dad would tell me, even if he kept repeating them over and over again, or maybe because he did. The principle is the same every time, but you only really understand it after experiencing it for yourself. Faster, faster! I can see the gates. They've almost caught up to me?
Du Yaoyi is skilled in the art of using the wind to anticipate danger. If she focuses without distraction, she could absolutely dodge this arrow. The arrow pierces her right shoulder, causing the box to slip out of her grasp. She hastily reaches out with her left hand to catch it, but ends up falling to the ground, along with the box. Silence her and retrieve the object.
Miss Du! It's you! I was chasing another group of bad guys and ended up here. Last night, when I hurried over to the Sword Forge, I saw the Mandarins taking you away with them. What's going on here? Don't want to talk about it. Help me out. Let's take care of these guys first. Good plan.
Lose your arrows.
Impudence.
A stretch of silk, a patch of snow, or perhaps the gleaming of a sword. The arrows fall to the ground, neatly sliced in two.
You're the one who saved Zhuo Li last night. Help me, I have something very important to deliver to the Lord Exorcist. He's at the outer city tower, and you're seriously wounded. Can you still run? Save the goods, then the men. Very well. Then leave them to us. Right. That Enway Lin of yours is still holed up in the warehouse fighting some evil woman. Go help her. Yusha! Right. You get moving. Again with public acts of violence. You Shanhaizhong have gone too far.
Master?
Where's the girl?
I almost got her, but these two stopped me.
Useless. Hurry after her and get the data. You shall not pass. You think you can stop me? Let's see if you can dodge my blade another time. So she's the evil lady Du was talking about? If she's here, then that means Yucha is... I'm fine. Finally caught up. Yusha, is that Superintendent Chen? That's her alright. Where's Du Yaoyi? She's already on the move. Good. Then there's only one thing left to do here. Stop that woman. Boring. It seems that after all these years, you people have not changed a bit. You don't know how to respect power. A column of ants is still just ants.
The wind blows away the clouds, and moonlight shines on the long and empty street. The road is clean, save for a few yellow leaves swirling around the stone bricks. It's the kind of cleanliness that comes after the decline of prosperity. Like a bleak autumn night.
It all ends here.
Autumn night?
So she's behind all the chaos that's been plaguing the city? It's time to put an end to her troublemaking. Be careful, her arts are extremely strange. Even my father and Chief Wei working together couldn't capture her. She's got a lot of tricks up her sleeve. You're telling me that this woman, talking all trash, is the one who tried to assassinate Wei and Wu? You scared? You've got to be kidding me. Sounds perfect. We'll knock her out, right here, and I'll get to shove it in Wei and Wu's face. Alright. Let's settle this here and now.
Even I love the sentence of let me beat the shit out of her so I can show it into Wei's face. Never change, Shen. Never change. Anyway, continuing on to the after part.
Someone, anyone?
You again? Didn't we just let you out? Keep making noise and it's no more Mr. Nice Guy.
Taizi, this box is holding something that can save the city, so shut up and give it to Zuo.
The word she just used to address him there has a couple of translations from what I've seen, but in this context it just means fool. Anyway. This is data for the Imperial Astronomical Bureau. And a token? Girl, how did this come into your possession? Hey, wake up! Hurry, call a medic!
Where exactly did this woman come from? Has Superintendent Chen finally met her match? Xiao can't cut through her arts. If you can even call it arts in the first place. She doesn't seem to know any kung fu, but her swordplay is ridiculously quick. It's like the kind of kung fu you find in those fake forbidden technique manuals that say they'll teach you transcend space and time. I'll trade a few more blows with her and see if I can figure it out. Careful now, she's not playing with us. Slip up once and you might die. Even if you don't, you still will. You want a few more rounds with me? Sure, let's start with you.
This time, her blade flies quicker than in their previous bouts. Waifu can only feel the autumn wind brushing against her face, leaving her no time to react. Suddenly, a wall appears in front of her, or rather, a man's back as thick and wide as a wall. Waifu looks at the wall in front of her that she last saw over a decade ago. Still, the sight overlaps with the one in her memories. The reunion comes sooner than she expected and catches her off guard. So, this is the one Lee mentioned. The one who's been bothering everyone.
You again?
Turns out I've been sleeping bad because I was about to run into someone I'd rather not see. Yui Tianpei sweeps a quick glance behind him. His movements are light and quick, but Waifu catches them perfectly clearly. I didn't want to fight anybody until my match with the Grandmaster. Guess today's a cheat day. So yeah, you've got some skills, but I can't say I know any kung fu school where you bully your juniors for practice. If you're itching for a fight, I'll take you on!
Yui, you're at a disadvantage unarmed. I'll lend you my sword.
Don't need it. Anything my fists can't break, a sword won't cut either.
Don't overestimate yourself.
Waifu gets a front row seat to the action. Sidestep, chop, quickstep, twist, elbow strike. All moves she has learned herself. Seeing the pained expression on his opponent's face, it is clear that Yui Tianpei is using his full strength. Waifu imagines what it feels like to be slammed into a wall. Right. That's some blade. I dodged it by a hair, but it caught my skin.
Damn you!
After being knocked back several feet, the woman steadies herself with her blade. The tremendous impact seems to have little lasting effect on her, as she lifts her sword again and assumes a defensive stance. But being knocked off balance has made her furious, and anger whips into a tangible wind, with everyone present feeling a chill run up their spines at the same time. The moonlight intensifies.
Still got more tricks under her sleeve. This sensation again.
Oh, her chi feels different. Great, let's go for another round. The woman raises her head and glances towards the sky, the clouds drifting across and obscuring half the moonlight. She lowers her half-raised blade.
Since the girl already delivered the data, I'm not going to bother with you any longer. It doesn't matter. You're out of time. Yumen City won't escape the calamity.
Seems like we were needed. We did witness a splendid showdown, though, so I wouldn't say it was a waste. The young will surpasses in time. I assume you were referring to that fellow. I'd say Shen here has already learned a good chunk of what you have to offer. What do you think of her swordplay? Skillful, but not yet the peak of perfection. Oh? So, what you mean to say is...
Brother Meng!
A sorrowful howl resounds through the long and deserted street. Back at the agency, Waifu saw plenty of soap operas depicting children reuniting with their parents. Some cried bitterly while others threw furniture around. The actors' intense performances felt strange and unfamiliar to Waifu. When watching with Hung or Lee, they would always silently change the channel. She tried to imagine what it would be like when she saw him again. The pent-up resentment, anger, confusion, and dissatisfaction that accumulated over a decade. How would she express herself to him? But at this very moment, the man standing right in front of her feels less real than the cold wind blowing on her face.
You came to my rescue, so thanks for that.
Sure.
Anything else you'd like to say?
I'm good.
Then, prepare yourself.
All right.
Dad, what does Hangmei Wing Chun mean?
Of all the countless kung fu styles under heaven, you chose this one, huh? Alright, I'll teach you this one.
Which style do you use, Dad? I want to learn the same one as you.
I'll teach you mine, but not now. You still haven't mastered the basics. Once you've gotten a solid foundation, then you can learn my kung fu.
Okay. I've sparred with him so many times that I've lost count. The moment our first fists connect, my arm adapts with my muscle memory. More submerged memories also flow out from my mind. A small courtyard with blue brick and stone flooring, a large porcelain water jar always filled full, wooden stakes wrapped with cloth, and a tall figure whose face could never be clearly seen. That was my world, day after day, diligently practicing and enduring hardships, year after year, cultivating my mind and tempering my character. My sparring partner changed from my father to a wooden dummy, never letting myself rest even for a day. Over the past decade, practicing kung fu became as natural as eating and sleeping. I think I asked him the question, why? Why did you teach me kung fu? Why did you have me become a warrior just like you? The intertwining of moves and techniques, the simple and genuine connection. You've taught me so much, but I was never chasing you. I found my own goals, I know why I practice kung fu, and I won't change the path I chose just because a man's back popped up in front of me. And I will surpass you.
A fist lands on the man's robust chest, as if hitting a thick wall. It gives off a muffled sound. You've improved over the years, but you're still a long way from matching me.
Big talk. But I wouldn't have even landed a hit on you back then. If this is as far as you've come in a dozen years, then I'll catch up to you real soon.
My daughter enjoys some big talk.
That's not a compliment. I lose.
Yuan Tianpei twirls his beard, thinks for a long time, and suddenly bursts into laughter. That move where you kicked me in the chin doesn't look like anything I taught you. What fun. Anyway, I'm heading back to the clinic.
Wait a second.
Do you need me for something?
Where is the Grandmaster's sword? And Zuoli?
The sword's with a girl, and that Mandarin boy probably went after her. Can't say for sure. I'm pretty much done with all this stuff.
Wait, The Grand Master wants to see you.
Oh? I've been going easy on you since you're a NASA. I'm gonna hand over the sword now, or I'll show no mercy.
No.
Her wound reopens, and the young Anasa girl holds the sword in front of her chest with her left hand, throwing her chakram with her right, barely deflecting the enemy's attack. She falls back step by step, and as her arms feel heavier and heavier. It just occurred to me that even if I let you go, you still need a way out.
How did you know I would be here?
I grew up here.
I was a mischievous boy who tried to sneak out of the city through the sand sluices and was duly punished by my father for doing so. But only someone as stubborn as you would dare to take this way. You still want to stop me?
Tell me, did you come to Yumen just for the sword?
Yes.
And you wish to present the sword as an offering?
Yes.
And after that, will you return it?
Well, Yes, I will.
That eccentric from the clinic promised me earlier that if you broke your word, he would bring you back himself. But having said all that, retrieving the sword was, and still is, my duty. So while I have no qualms about taking you at your word, just this once, I will get the sword back, even if I have to jump into the sand sluice myself. You know, Tianjin, you may not know the idiom literally. A promise worth 1,000 gold. Break your word and I will drag you back here personally. And I would just like to point out here that I love the fact that the that the character himself actually translated what he said at the beginning. So thank you very much.
Alright.
You're racing your effort. Hurt as she is, she'll die when she jumps down there. 3 quarters past the hour of you. The turbines should have slowed down by now. There's no time to waste. Get going! The young candleholder turns around to face his powerful foe, and a light gleams from his sword unsheathing. The young Anasa girl hugs the sword tightly in her arms and leaps down into the churning sand. The observatory has recalculated its results according to the information we have just received. The catastrophe has manifested as a sandstorm, and its scale is about 3 times larger than the one that struck the city 4 years ago. The prior misinformation has already cost us too much time, so the situation is not optimistic. Zuo Shanliao looks at the box in his hands, the surface clearly worn down by gravel and sand. A few days ago, was there another person looking at this box just as he is now? How did he feel? If there was a mirror in his military tent, Zuo Shanliao would have noticed the strands of silver hair on his scalp multiplying over the past few days. Let's get to the point. Presently, Yumen is in the middle of the catastrophe's trajectory and won't be able to avoid it, even if we change course. We have but one method available to us. We can split Yumen up into multiple blocks and disperse in different directions to evade the catastrophe. How much time would that cost us? Reconnecting after separation and returning to full speed will probably take about 6 months. There's no time. It is the only feasible way to ensure the city's safety. It is not the city's safety we want to secure. The general lingers in his tent, the night outside his window still seemingly serene. The unseen danger lurks far away, but he knows it is still out there. He has seen these sights for decades, but he has never loathed the vast desert as much as he does right now. If we can only ensure the safety of our people. General, you mean? Prepare the front for direct catastrophe impact and evacuate all civilians from the east side of the core city to the west to the west for resettlement. Activate all defensive fortifications and station Imperial Astronomical Bearer casters on the city walls to resist the aftershocks. How long will repairs take after the fact?
General Zuo, the risk is too great.
How long will they take?
Repairing the front walls and some of the city infrastructure will take, by a conservative estimate, 3 months.
Sure.
Time is of the essence, so I urge the General to make a decision as soon as possible.
Mr. Liang, have you come to shackle me to ensure I don't act on my own?
I am here to relay the Grand Tutor's opinion, to trust in General Zuo's judgment.
Very well. Prepare to confront the catastrophe.
I would like to say, just before we continue, on initial reading through this, obviously before the recording, that those 2 moments from this entire block are such a whiplash, or rather 3 moments in general. First, Shen jumping in to save Lin is goddamn badass, and of course Shen gets another dress. She of course gets another skin, because why not? It does look dope. Number 2, the four girls literally facing off against a adversary that none of them alone have a chance against, and even combined were very struggling against it. Shen pointing out that Shi Xiao cannot cut the arts, and then the reunion from father and daughter. I will not lie. The moment the picture popped up on screen on initial reading of waifu punching her dad's chest, that was a moment where I just took like 2 or 3 minutes, leant back, and just took a couple of deep breaths. I was like done. I felt my heart just being like squeezed. That was so good. Anyway, we shall, as I said at the beginning, now continue on to stage 8, and yes, we will only do the before scene, so let's begin. Stage 8, titled Ancient Mutters. Someone must make a stand for Yumen. Hey, my bag, don't push. There's plenty of time, folks. Don't panic. Get in line. Careful not to step on each other.
Mama, I'm scared. Don't be scared. Just hold onto my hand and stay close. Where are we going? There's a big storm coming, so we're going to a safe place where we won't be blown away.
Massive shadows begin rising from outside walls, blocking out the sun. The 4 Guardians of Yumen, retractable external mobile barriers known as the Wind Aegis, designed by Tu Tianxi and built by the military's Department of Smelting and Fabrication. For centuries, Yumen has served as Yan's border bulwark, and the Wind Aegis have been her shield, protecting her from the sandstorms, winter winds, and originium storms of the Great Desert. The 3 winds shall not pass as long as the 4 Guardians stand. Wow, it's so tall. I've never seen the Wind Aegis deploy in all my 3 years in Yumen. Nothing to gape at. Yumen's walls are tall and fully equipped with originium defenses. Mundane catastrophes rarely require the Wind Aegis to be deployed, but it's not entirely unheard of. However, this is the first time that we've had to move half the city's population, as far as I know. So, what is the class of this catastrophe? So big not even the Wind Aegis could hold it back. The Wind Aegis lock into place, steel plates interlocking so tightly not even the wind can get through. Long lines of civilians move away from the walls in the shadows that the Wind Aegis cast. Perhaps comforted by the sturdy presence of the barriers, the crowd calms down after some initial chaos. The poplars that grow on the borderlands have grown used to the wind and sand. What's the matter? Scared? Man your post. Don't think about anything else. Keep your eyes open. The Shanhaizhong are still in the city. Anything can happen with so many people moving. Protect the commoners. You're still here? They've been broadcasting it all day. Yumen is about to run into a catastrophe. Those on the east side need to move to shelters on the west side before noon. I know, the catastrophe cloud isn't here yet. I need to pack my things. Here it is. I could lose the tables, the chairs, even the building, but not this recipe book. Say, you could come with me to Looming if you lost in... Don't say that! Sorry, yeah, that's bad luck. I just figured your culinary skills would do well in Looming too. I've had the chance to see your work up close these few days after all. Nah, can't have that. Where would the people of Yumen get my special salty meat if I left? Are you a native of Yumen? No. I was born in the Heartlands and went to Lungmen to seek my fortune. I came over when the cities linked, wanting to see what things were like in the north. Then I lost my wallet and started working at this inn to make ends meet. Now I've been the innkeeper for years. The building doesn't matter, houses can be rebuilt. Absolutely. Well, I'll help you back up. The winds are calm. The dark, ominous mass of air is clearly visible, even from a distance, darkening part of the sky. The catastrophe does not seem to have moved, but the temperature is rising. It is as though it is waiting for a gust of wind before lashing out at the city walls.
Whew. Come to watch my brother's duel, General?
Catastrophe preparations are already done. The Grand Master wants to see whether that one is worth his trust before catastrophe strikes. I can't miss this. Still, it seems absurd to determine the sword's ownership in this way.
You've been at my brother's side for decades. You would not trust his choice as a friend?
Friend. We have fought side by side, but we have never been brothers. Neither sword, nor spear, nor gun, nor cannon can harm your kind. How could you truly understand the camaraderie of men? You remain outsiders to it all.
Outsiders? You could say that about me, but it seems unfair to apply it to my brother.
Man and beast are different. This has never changed. You know how the Imperial Court views your kind. An alliance can only endure when the two sides are equals. One should not wield power beyond one's control. I'm not in a position to trust him unconditionally, for I'm not his equal.
I'm surprised you would be so frank, but perhaps you underestimate yourself.
Zhuo Shanliao gazes wordlessly at the great desert beyond. The two shadows there are like two drops of ink on a great scroll. Heaven and earth are silent.
It all feels like it happened yesterday. We partook in more than just war. We hunted, drank, and sang together. Yumen is still human. Why is it that you have worries enough to turn your hair white? Does the sight of those two remind you of those golden days? You say that man and beast are different, but look, a man has chosen to challenge this great barrier. Does your heart not race at a clash like that? Loosen that brow of yours. Care for a drink? We could even make a wager.
Good, good. You finally agreed to fight me. Sorry for making you wait. It's only been 3 years. I could wait longer if you have unfinished business. 3 years ago? Hold it. That was just one exchange. It was enough. We traded 3 blows in that exchange. Someone could have been hurt if we were using our full strength. But you're holding back, and I can't use my full strength either. That's no fun.
Sparring is about restraint.
Screw sparring, screw restraint. Let's have a proper fight. All the kung fu under heaven involved in the struggle of life and death. You're not talking like the top-ranked fighter of the Yumen Arena Board of Fame.
You have a point, however.
Fine, I know, you have a job to do. You're not in a position to go all out. When are you quitting? We'll put this off until then.
Well, I have no idea when that might be.
Guesstimate it for me.
Could be 3 years, 5, 10, maybe more.
Alright, I'll wait. You're right here after all. I'm not worried you'll run away.
Back to present time? There is always more to do. This is the right time and place for the fight that I owe you. I should explain that I have my own reasons for doing this.
Oh?
There is a tradition of military commanders sparring before their troops prior to a campaign, in order to inspire the men. Yumen is about to fight a catastrophe. This bout between you and I will inspire the warriors of the city.
Suits me just fine, as long as you're not worried about losing face when I make you eat dirt in front of the whole city.
It's been many years since someone challenged me like this.
It's been many years since I've seen someone worth challenging like you. Ready to give me your all?
Hold nothing back.
Victory and defeat lie in the hands of man.
Life and death lie in the hands of heaven. Did they start yet? Hey, take it easy. You're injured. I'm a trained kung fu fighter. I'm not so fragile. There's plenty of time to rest later. Miss this fight and I may never see one like it ever again. It's not that big of a deal. The feline is your dad, right? The good-for-nothing old man you were talking about? I definitely see the resemblance. Like father, like daughter. In, what way? The way you look before a fight. Like you're gonna eat someone. I hear the Grandmaster's skills are almost supernatural. He hasn't fought in public in years. Some even say that he invented half the kung fu under heaven. And I hear your dad defeated the evil woman last night. Who do you think will win here? Silly question. Of course you want your dad to win. That's his business, not mine. I just want to see for myself how big the gap between us is. Mr. Liang, I didn't think you would be interested in such a violent business. I ought to be here as a friend. I wonder if he achieved his goal of making a name for himself. Look at the number of eyes on this fight. It'll be the stuff of legend, no matter who wins. A lunatic must answer to himself before telling others who he is. We must all answer to ourselves. I was looking for Huai Tianpei before trouble found me. I was back to my old detective tricks and found out a few things. I have a good idea of what you're planning. There's probably a reason why trouble finds you. A big brother must look after his siblings. What did you hear? Few know that the Grandmaster is Ling's eldest brother. Seems like it's being kept a secret. True. Retrieving the Grandmaster's sword is, of course, an urgent matter, but the bigger headache is what to do with it afterwards. You don't want it at Yumen. Perhaps you speak for the Sui regulator,
Perhaps it's your judgment as advisor to Yumen, but the Lord Exorcist won't let it go. You needed someone who could take the sword, someone both sides can live with. You just happen to have an oath brother who is a kung fu master, and he just happens to be inhuman. It didn't take much effort to guide the girl to the clinic where Huai Tianpei worked, in order to ensure his involvement. From Xiangshu to Yumen, you always get your old friends to solve your problems. Isn't that a little lazy? I don't have many friends. Question for you. When did you start thinking about getting Huai Tianpei involved? Never mind, no need to tell me. No matter how many strings you pulled behind the scenes, it was always his lifelong wish to fight the best and become the best. He might even thank you for setting the stage if he knew. We are all doing what we want to, even if things often don't turn out the way we want. After all these years, perhaps he's the one who's closest to his oldest dreams. Achieve one thing in life. Easy for him to say.
Mr. Huai came, despite his injuries. He would have come as long as there was a single breath left in him. He doesn't care if it's the last thing he does. I know Mr. Huai came to Yumen to challenge the Grandmaster, and the Grandmaster accepted the challenge. The Grandmaster has spoken of it from time to time, and I can tell you that he's no less looking forward to this than Mr. Huai is. All Kung Fu fighters thirst for a good opponent. It's an obsession, a strange one. It's natural that you don't understand. It's the same reason that you follow the Grandmaster. You can actually be kind of astute at times, you know that? I'll head down. It's two masters at work. Nothing in your records will come close to what you are about to see. I'll try to be detailed. Just keep your distance. You don't want to get hurt. Of course.
Same day, but earlier.
Today's the day, isn't it?
Are you ready?
The veterans say Yumen has been through many crises in the past, but nothing on this scale. Not even you know what's going to come of it, do you?
Things are more complicated than meets the eye. From Jiangji to Yumen, how many times has she seen danger, seen her life hang by a thread? Yet she did not die in the wilderness, nor did she become like the Shanhaizhong. What is it that has kept her going?
The city has treated me well. I should do something for it. Before that, however, I must answer to myself. You said that you would fight me whenever I felt up to it.
I did. Strike me, if you're ready. Kyubai takes a step back, focuses, and raises her sword. She knows that he knows her every move like the back of his hand. An eye for an eye. Is there wisdom in the saying, or is it simply a result? How many people have fed the Finns by the river fort? Should their family seek revenge on her father? How many people would seek revenge on her, if she killed this one in front of her, for the sake of her own revenge? The cycle of vengeance never ends. Should it really be hate that keeps her going? How long has she been thinking about that question? The 5 years that she has been around this man, seeing all that he saw? No, longer than that. Her sword has seen blood every step of the way from Jiangxi to Yumen. How would she judge those dead by it? This is why she came to Yumen, for revenge and to learn. Exact what must be exacted, and discern what must be discerned. sword is pulled back abruptly. It leaves her hand and falls into a nearby ditch, sending a patch of foul beast scattering in all directions. The violence of the move almost injures her, showing none of her usual grace in practice or battle. Her expression, however, is one of satisfaction.
That will do. The sword has been thrust. It couldn't have killed you.
Correct.
I didn't let go of vengeance because I can't kill you, though. It's just not worth my sword anymore.
When did she find the answer? It seems you have made great strides in the past 3 years. We've said too much. Chongyue stops mid-sentence. His opponent is injured. A few more words would give him time to adjust his breathing. But he soon realizes that such kindness would be an insult to his opponent. There is no such thing as a truly fair fight. Cast away irrelevant thoughts and give all for victory. That is what fair is. Let's begin. Yuan Tianpei clutches his fist, feeling the lines etched into his palm. They are the marks of 40 years of kung fu practice, his pride, his very emblem. He's waited 3 years for this fight, but the preparation for it began on the first day studying kung fu. A martial artist always aspires to the top. The wind is still. The world is silent. See you on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. But yeah, this is... I know. If it's any consolidation, like I said, I have not watched the scene after, so I'm also blind until tomorrow. But yeah, this is where we're gonna stop, cause the next part is gonna be definitely spicy, and I'm looking forward to go through that one, especially because it's gonna probably, as per usual, considering it's the end of the story, be a long one, and it would absolutely destroy me during this doing this in this episode. So we will keep the rest of stage 8 for tomorrow, and then finish off the story with stage 9 and probably the epilogue scene right after. But anyway, yeah, this is gonna be a showdown. Like you, I am looking forward to reading it, but oh my, this was certainly a eventful and emotional part of the story. So I am looking forward what shenanigans are gonna be at the end. But anyway, as always, thank you very much for listening and watching these videos. I appreciate it a lot. If you've liked this video, please consider leaving a like. It helps me a lot in the algorithm and means a lot to me as well, obviously. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. There's a lot more stuff on the channel like this, including the entire main story up until the current end on Global. So if you want to catch up on pretty much anything outside of very few little stories that are still missing from the whole collection, a lot is there. And yeah, all I can say is, please look forward to the next part. I know I am. And I hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are. And I will see you in the next part. Until then, bye-bye.